This is the #1 stop for all things polling and elections in the United States, so make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this. Today we're going to be looking at the latest polls for the 2024 presidential election. For the safe Republican states, these are states that are going to be decided by over 10 points or so. We have these traditionally Republican states that have been going Republican for the past couple of years, as well as South Carolina, Alaska, Maine's 2nd congressional district, all of Nebraska except the 2nd congressional district, as well as the state of Iowa. No polling between Trump and Harris is out of there, so we are going to be leaving that in the safe column, as well as for California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Illinois, most of the northeastern states, including the state of New York, as well as Maine's 1st congressional district, and Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. There is no polling for Trump v. Harris, so I'm going to be giving it the 2020 result, as it did go for Biden by 6.6 percentage points in the last cycle. I'm also going to be giving Hawaii in that column. I will probably leave New York open because we do actually have a poll with Trump v. Harris there. We're going to be going from west to east, starting with the state of Nevada. We can go to the state of Nevada, and it's a pretty interesting result because right now we actually have a Trump +3 poll from Trafalgar, 1,100 likely voters from August 6th to the 8th, so about a week old, and it includes Kennedy, about a 3-point lead, so we can put that in the lean Republican column. Arizona, we have a pretty similar story. I believe the latest poll is still from Trafalgar, which has Donald Trump up by a single point with Kennedy included, 1,100 likely voters, the same date as the Nevada poll and the same pollster. New Mexico is the next state on the map, traditionally now a Democrat state. The latest poll from Redfield and Wilton Strategy, sponsored by The Telegraph, with about 500 likely voters from July 31st to August 3rd, has Harris up 7 points in the state with third parties, so that is fairly fascinating as well. Something I'd like to mention is that in my previous video for the Senate map predictions, I actually gone ahead and talked about those. I actually have the Democrat winning by 9.6%, and the latest poll has the Democrat up by 6, so even polling is not that far off from what I actually have in my forecast for some of these states. Looking at the state of Texas, this is a state where Donald Trump is still performing relatively well. The latest active vote poll with about 400 likely voters, which is a pretty low sample size, and this was conducted over 2 weeks, which that basically deems the data unusable because you essentially took way too long to collect the data. Data needs to be collected like that within a few weeks or so, or at least within a week at most, but the fact it took them that long to collect the data is a little bit suspicious. This does show a 7-point lead for Donald Trump, so we're going to be putting that in the likely Republican column. Looking at the state of Minnesota, this is the next state on here. Redfield and Wilton Strategies, about 500 likely registered voters from July 31st to August 3rd, has Harris up 5 points in the state of Minnesota. Before you continue the video, I have an important announcement for you all. GOFUNDME and I are sponsoring SoCal Strategies, a new pollster that is trying to provide the most honest and transparent polling methodology and analysis that anyone, even from the mainstream media, will give you. In the mainstream media, you have a lot of pollsters trying to fake their numbers and fudge the numbers and wait 2 weeks to poll, but we're not going to do that with SoCal Strategies. Me and Politics, a YouTuber who's about to hit 200,000 subscribers, we trust SoCal Strategies to have the most accurate, transparent, and honest data that you can get in the election polling atmosphere, period. So guys, these polls are not free, and we are the main sponsors for them. We're trying to crowd raise this to kind of prove to everybody that there is a movement behind wanting accurate, honest polling data, and the fact that we could potentially lose this if we end up being inaccurate, or at least if SoCal ends up being inaccurate. So guys, make sure to go ahead and donate whatever you possibly can, even if it's about $1, $2, or $5. Anything helps, guys. Anything would be greatly appreciated. Looking at the state of Wisconsin, we also have a poll there which has Harris up by a single point with likely registered voters, or likely voters, and about 1,000 registered or likely voters. And then we have August 12th to the 14th by TIPPP, and we see Harris is up by a single point. Now, polls here tend to get it pretty inaccurate because of the fact that pollsters, for whatever reason, tend to undersample, the electorate. So you see here, Baldwin being up by 7 is actually pretty decent, because my forecast is about a 4.4 percentage point victory. And when you account for the electorate, possibly being greater than R+5 in Wisconsin with raw party registration on election day, you're going to get something like a 2 to 4 point victory for Baldwin in that Senate race. So this is going to be going in the lean Democrat column, as the latest poll does have Harris up by a single point. Looking at the state of Michigan, there is a new poll out of Michigan that is looking pretty good. It actually has Trump up by 2 percentage points. And wow, they literally just updated the polling like right now. Okay, well, this is news. So Harris apparently is up 6 points. Okay, no, hold on. There we go. Okay, so we did it by date. All right, perfect. So it shows here that Donald Trump is up by 2 percentage points in the state of Michigan, with third parties included. That's going to be in the lean Republican column. I could have sworn I literally made the thumbnail for this like right before I even recorded. And so I was kind of surprised to see a likely blue Michigan. That's why. In the state of Ohio, we clearly have a front runner. Donald Trump is up in the state pretty decently, about 10 points or so, and 9 points with third parties. So that puts the state in the likely Republican column. The state of Florida, Donald Trump here. The latest poll does actually have Trump up in the state by 8 from ActiVote. So that is pretty interesting. Again, too long of a poll to conduct. I guarantee you if they took a smaller sample date, it would probably be a bigger lead for Trump, but it is still in the Republican column nonetheless. Now, looking at the state of Georgia, this is very fascinating, because the latest poll actually has Harris tied in the state. But when we look at the previous poll with third parties, Trump is up 2 in the state. So since this is tied, and we always look to the previous result to give the tilt categorization, we're going to be putting that in the tilt Republican column. In the state of North Carolina, the polling here has gotten pretty interesting. Harris is actually up here by 2 points with third-party voters. So very, very fascinating. So this is actually going to go in the lean Democrat column. But the state of Virginia, in the latest poll, is actually going to be a lean Republican state. Not a lot of new polling from there at all. And the latest poll does show Trump up by 4 points there. So that's going to be going in the lean Republican column. And in the state of Pennsylvania, we actually have a new Emerson poll from the state, and we clearly see Donald Trump is up by a single point, or is basically virtually tied with third parties included. So that's going to be putting the state in the lean Republican column as well. If we look at the state of New York, this is fascinating. The latest poll from here actually has from Siena College, believe it or not. Our last poll was the first Harris matchup, 500 likely voters between SoCal Research and I. But we clearly see here that, McLaughlin and Associates, there's a, district poll which has this guy up by 14, which is crazy. But the latest Siena College poll from August 1st does actually have Harris up by 12, which is somewhat lower than what I have in my forecast. So that's pretty fascinating. The state of New Hampshire is very interesting because, basically there's still a big lead. Now, what's pretty interesting, a bunch of primary polls for the, different races just came in. But again, the latest Emerson College poll does have Harris up 6 in the state. And looking at Maine at large, we actually see the latest poll actually has Harris up 8 points in the state of Maine at large. So this is the final electoral college map for this video. Donald Trump with 299 electoral college votes to Harris's 239 in the latest polls for the battleground states. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video.